hello subscribers and hello to new viewers. Now just to let you know what the script is here, we've got a scooter here that doesn't work. This is what I do, I repair scooters. So if you want to see all the other videos, if you kind of like and subscribe, and if you do have any questions, if you disagree with me, if you want to find out something else, you can leave a comment below, and I always kind of like your comments and put a bit of text towards it. So, been asked to go to this customer. Problem with the scooter, and the scooter is not working whatsoever. He says you switch it on, press the lever, no power. Used it 3 days ago, no issues whatsoever. So the first thing I tend to do is to check the batteries. So there's quite a few ways you can check the battery. Of course you need a multimeter. Always set it to DC voltage. And what you tend to do is to put the connection here to see if you've got power in the batteries. What else you can do now, I'm pointing here, is kind of obvious, is this little thing here. This is called the circuit breaker. Now this circuit breaker will pop out if there's an electrical issue or you kind of overload the circuit, the motor or whatever, and everything heats up, and that's a kind of thermal cut-off. Circuit breakers, I think I've covered that one before. So that pops out, so you would check that as well. So press that in there. It's not popped in. Switch it on. Nothing, no power coming there whatsoever. So I need to check actually that they've got power in the batteries. So the first thing I do, get my voltmeter DC and put it to the two outside connections on the battery, which is showing 24.79 volts. And now the voltmeter is DC voltage and it's showing 24.79. I know there's a wee minus here. It's because I've inserted the pins the wrong way around. It doesn't really matter. At least we know this voltage coming to the charging socket. Now, so with that we know that that fuse is not blown. Now this fuse here, the 5 amp fuse, that's there to charge, to protect the circuit while it's charging. So if you've got a scooter that doesn't charge, first of all, I would check that there. Because if I pull that out, you'll find out you don't get any voltage. So let's see. And then you won't be able to charge it. So you pull that out, and you have no voltage. So a lot of people at this end do, oh, the charger isn't working, so we'll buy a new charger. But you forget to check this fuse here. Okay. So it's always handy to check that fuse before you buy anything. So we know the batteries have got voltage in them. So what we then need to do is take the battery off and see if there's voltage underneath the battery, because power goes in here and it comes out on the underside. So let's move that. Now as soon as I lift the battery out, I can see that there's a lot of water there. Is it acid? Is it water? A wee smell, it tells me it's water. And if it was acid, I'd start burning myself. So why is it covered in water? I need to speak to the customer. Right, so there we go. We've got our voltmeter there. So hopefully you can see that. And what you do is you're trying to find the terminals in here. I think it's these two here. No, it's not these two, the outside two. 24.8 volts. Okay, it's back to front, so we know that the internal fuse, because each battery has a fuse, is not blown, so it's actually putting power out, which we know there's no problems, issues with the batteries here. The next thing we need to have a look at, if you can see here, is another fuse, and there's even more water. Now that fuse is very important, that one there. That fuse there is important, so you want to check that fuse. That's a 3 amp fuse. That fuse, it stops the power going to the front of the scooter, so that may be an issue. So what we want to do is we want to take that out and we want to check that fuse. And if you look at that fuse, there's not a problem with it, but I still like doing a continuity test, which I'll do. So I'll put my multimeter to continuity, check, and then put it over here. And I know for a fact the fuse is continuity and the fuse is not broken. I can see it's not broken. But I always like to, just in case there's a hairline fracture. So I'll put that baby back in there. Right, so what to do next? I I've checked all the fuses, I checked the battery, and there's still nothing coming up here. So I know there's the battery power, I know there's tons of water in here. So I went back in and spoke to the customer and I says, have you been caught out in the rain? He says, yeah, I've been caught out in the rain, heavy rain. And as you know, as I've said in other videos, water and electrics don't get on. Now what I would recommend everybody to do if you get caught out in the rain in a mobility scooter, disconnect the batteries, or in this case take the batteries out, and leave the scooter for at least 2 days in a warm room. Don't get the hairdryer on it and heat things up. Leave it in a warm room and let it dry out. Then try and switch it on and see if it will work. The reason for that is something may dry out, and if it dries out, it starts to work again. I think this happened a couple of days ago, and he's kept it in his house and it's still not working. But I usually say leave it for a couple of days in a warm room, it may dry out, switch it on, boom, it works again. But usually when you get water ingress, water coming in, it could have a long-term effect on the scooter as things start to corrode and your connections get bad. So anyway, now I've checked this, I've checked the fuse, batteries all that working, connections are in here, they're okay. I need to open the tiller head and to see if I get voltage to the ignition key. Just in case he's left the key out and this water got into the ignition barrel, therefore it's corroded, no making a proper connection. So what we need to do is put the batteries back in here, open up the tiller head with my Phillips screwdriver and get my multimeter in there, and that's what I'm going to do now. Right, now I've opened up the tiller head and straight away I can see some tape. I've not done this repair. There's some white tape, 2 bits of white tape on here, black tape on here, and if you have a look here, a wee bit of white. That could be corrosion. So what I'm going to do, I've got my voltmeter, and I'm going to disconnect, that's the one here. I'm going to disconnect the power to the ignition. Where are we? There we are. Right, so if you have a look at the voltmeter there, it's red and black, so that's red in here and black in there. So we should, if everything goes okay, get voltage. I looked 24.79. So voltage is getting to this connection here, but for some odd reason, and we can tell by looking at this that there's something right here. It's all joined up, but I reckon water's got in the ignition barrel and that's caused the problem. So what we're going to do, I'm going to replace the ignition barrel, and I've got them in stock. So if you can see all the corrosion there. All this dust coming off it, the corrosion. The copper's just flaking off it. But I reckon there'll be water in there. I mean, you can put insulating tape and that on it. I like to solder them straight on and put insulating tape on them and put heat shrink on them. But look, there's another connection here. There's 2 here, 2 here. Yeah, somebody's been playing about here. So I'll do a proper job here. Put a new ignition. That's what he done. Right, so you can see he's joined it together there and he's put that on it, which is fair enough. But the cause of the issue being here is water and ignition. So technically speaking, what you can do to check if it is ignition, let's join it together, is to arc the 2 wires together. These 2 wires, arcing them together. So one way we can actually find out if it is the ignition barrel is I'm switching it on here, but let's do away with it altogether. I'm just going to have you a wee set of jump leads that I'm going to put across the terminals here and join them together, and hopefully, we've got power. It's a manual, switch it off and on again. And then you do it here because ignition's not working. On and off again. And now if I move the lever, hopefully, oh yes. So that will, we're bypassing the ignition barrel here by the wire, so I know 100% it is. So this water's got in the ignition barrel here. This is an easy repair, I'm quite glad. Not too difficult to ascertain the problem. Just follow where the power comes all the way up to here. Now if there wasn't, let's say for instance, if there wasn't any power coming to this wire here, then that would be a pain, because the main control box is in between the battery and here, which is underneath the floor pan. And that, I've done videos on that before, it's a pain to get to. You got to put the scooter on the side, undo screws from underneath, because this is a foldable boot scooter, so that really would be a pain if that did happen. So you can see what happens if you go out in the rain, and through time, this is now corroded through time, through the few days, and it's no longer working. New ignition barrel, customers will be back on the road again, which is going to be quick because I keep these in stock. As I say, if you need any, just give us a wee bell. If you'd like to leave any comments below, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll be joining us soon again. Take care, bye bye.